Hello everyone, I'm Donna from the training team. Gift packaging is something we need throughout the year, but especially during the holidays. And as a paper crafter, you probably have most, if not all, of the supplies that you need to create your own gift packaging. And I don't mean just the cute tag that you'll create and attach to your gift. You can also make your own box to wrap your gift up in. Now, I like to make my boxes using Designer Series paper for the top of the box and cardstock for the bottom. I'm excited about the 12 by 12 cardstock options that are in the holiday or autumn-winter catalog. Now, you can purchase a single pack of just real red cardstock, or you can purchase a combo pack that has cherry cobbler and garden green cardstock in the 12 by 12 size. Now there is also pumpkin pie and basic gray in a combo pack of 12 by 12. In this video, I'll be using the Fancy Frost Specialty Designer Series paper to make the top of the boxes, and that paper is also featured in the Autumn, Winter, or Holiday catalog. This paper is so yummy. It looks and feels like you ran the entire sheet through the Big Shot using a textured impression embossing folder. Now you really need to hold this paper in your hands to appreciate its loveliness. So if you haven't purchased this yet, make sure you add a package to your next order. Now this paper has a classic white on white look, but if you want to add a pop of color, all you need to do is just take one of our ink pads and a sponge and just dab that in the ink and rub it over the top of the paper. The textured design will really show through when you do that. Okay, enough about talking about paper. Let's make a box, and I have several tips to share with you along the way that will make your box making experience a successful one. Here are the pieces that you'll need to make a box that looks just like this one. Now the top piece is a little bit smaller than the bottom, or I should say the side of the box is a little bit shorter than the bottom, and that's so both the cardstock and the DSP can be seen on the side of the box. Now you can always make the sides of the box exactly the same size, and that's what I've done on this box here. But I just think it looks a lot more interesting if the sides of the top of the box are just a tad bit shorter so you can see both papers. The bottom of this box is a full sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock, and I'll score it all around at 2.5 inches using the scoring blade on my paper trimmer. Now that's 6.4 centimeters if you're doing metrics. But before I start scoring, I have a tip that I want to share with you. Now, I recommend cutting a smidge off the bottom piece of the cardstock before you start scoring. Now, you only need to do this for the bottom of the box. The reason why is if you cut a smidge off, the top box will fit nicely over the bottom box. So that smidge measurement, it's actually on your paper trimmer. So let me show you where that is. Here's the cutting groove right here. And a smidge, it's just barely past that cutting groove. Now you'll need to cut a smidge off of two sides of the paper, and you should cut them off two sides that share a corner. So I've cut one off here, and now I'll cut it off there. There we go. Now if you really want a measurement, a smidge is about 1/16 of an inch, or 2 to 3 millimeters. But you really don't need to measure this out. I've made hundreds of boxes and have always cut just a smidge off the bottom, and it hasn't failed me yet. Now the next step is to score 2.5 inches, which is 6.4 centimeters, all the way around the box. And then cut these tabs right here so that you can put your box together. Now you can cut these tabs using paper snips, but I have a tip to share with you so you can score and cut these tabs at the same time. All right, start by scoring the two opposite sides first. So there's one. Then you'll score the other two sides and at the same time make the cuts that you need for those tabs. So score it. Now you scored these two lines so you can use those as a reference so you know how far up you need to cut the tabs. So that line. And then just do that exact same thing on the other side. I think it's just a bit faster if you score then cut these tabs instead of cutting the tabs with the paper snips. Okay, well that part is done, but before I move on, here's another tip that I want to share. I like to trim a wedge off of the side here of my box. So let me pull this one back in and I'll cut them off of here. I think this makes the box look just a little bit cleaner. You don't have to measure this. We'll just cut that off on each tab. And you'll notice this when you put your box together. Okay, so I've already done that on this piece. The next step is to fold on all of the score lines, and a bone folder is essential when you are doing this. This is how you're going to get the box edges to be nice and crisp. All right, now it's time to apply the adhesive. And Tear and Tape is a great adhesive to use when you're making boxes, but I actually prefer Fast Fuse because I think it's a little bit quicker and it's a strong adhesive, which is what you want when you're making boxes. Now, if you have tried Fast Fuse, you know that it's just a little bit different than our Snell adhesive. And the experience others have had using Fast Fuse has been mixed. Not everyone is a fan of Fast Fuse like me. So I have a tip for you that will make all the difference when you are using it. Now when you use Snell, you place your finger at the top here and you pull it towards you. So it's natural that when you got your Fast Fuse that you wanted to use it exactly the same way. However, to have a good experience with Fast Fuse, you need to change your grip and hold the Fast Fuse on the sides like this. You also need to make that little check mark at the end to break the adhesive. Now this seems like such a small change to just change your grip around, but I promise you it will make a world of difference when using Fast Fuse, and I think you soon will be a fan just like me. All right, now we can put our box together. You'll just fold these tabs in like that and line up the edges. And I have a box that's all done. Here it is right here. Now you'll put the top of the box together exactly the same way. So you'll start with a piece of Designer Series paper that is 10.5 inches square, and you'll score it at 1 3/4 inches all the way around. Now the metric measurements for those are 26.7 centimeters and scoring at 4.5 centimeters. Now this is what the box will look like once you have that all done. And just look at how nice it fits over the top of this box. And that's because I cut that smidge off of the bottom. Now this box is a great size, but it might be too big or too small for what you want to wrap up. So if you want to find out how to figure out the measurements to make a custom sized box, keep watching this video. But if you've had enough of box making for one day, it's okay to stop watching the video and move on to something else, because for the rest of the video, I'll be talking about how to figure out the dimensions for a custom size box. Let's say that you want to make a box that you can wrap this tin of tag project kit in. Well, this little box here is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and that's 10.8 centimeters. And the sides are 2 3/4 inches from here to there, and that's 7 centimeters. So that's how tall the sides are. Now I have a worksheet that I like to use to help me determine what dimensions I need to cut from my paper. And this is what it looks like. Now these two spaces right here are where I'll list how tall the sides of the box should be. So I know they need to be at least 2 3/4 inches. So I'll write that into the space. And remember, that's 7 centimeters for those metric measurements. Now in the middle space here, you'll list the inside dimension for the box. We know it needs to be at least 4 1/4 inches. Now just add those numbers up to determine what size the cardstock needs to be. And that equals 9 3/4 inches. So this is what that piece looks like. I've scored it at 2 3/4 inches all the way around. And when I put the box together, it looks just like this. And look how nicely the tin of tag fits inside of it. Okay, so now we need to figure out what the top of the box should look like. So I'm going to pull my worksheet back in. Now I already know what the inside dimension is, so I'll go ahead and put that right here. It's 4 1/4 inches. Remember, that's 10.8 centimeters. And what I need to determine now is how tall the sides of the boxes should be. Well, I think I'll make them 1 1/4 inch. All right, so now if I add those up, that will equal 6 3/4 inches. So here's what that piece looks like. And when it's all put together, it will look like this. And because I cut that smidge off of the bottom, it'll fit so nice over the top of that bottom box. Okay, this gift was square. What if the gift you're giving is not square? But perhaps you also want to give someone the Tin of Tags stamp set along with this project kit. So let me show you how you'll figure out those dimensions. Now I'll start with my worksheet again. And for this stamp set, I know that it is 5 1/2 inches across here, and that's 14 centimeters, and it's 8 inches in length, which is 20.3 centimeters. So let's get those numbers into the spreadsheet. Because this gift is not square, I'll need a line on my worksheet for the width and a line for the length. So my worksheet looks a little bit different. Now I like to figure out the bottom measurements first. So these two outside measurements here are where I will list how tall the sides of the box should be. And I think I'll make it 1 1/2 inches. So I'll put that number in. Okay, that's 3.8 centimeters. Now in this middle space is where I'm going to put the width, and that's 5 1/2 inches or 14 centimeters. Now I'll add all of those together and it comes out to be 8 1/2 inches or 21.6 centimeters. Now I just need to do the exact same thing to determine the length. Now I've already put in what the sides of the box will be. That's the 1 1/2 inches or 3.8 centimeters. So in the middle space here, I just need to put the length, which is 8 inches. So when I add those numbers up, it comes out to be 11 inches or 27.9 centimeters. Piece of cardstock for the box needs to be 8 1/2 inches by 11, which is 21.6 centimeters by 27.9 centimeters. And don't forget, you need to cut that smidge off. I have scored it 1 1/2 inches around, which is 3.8 centimeters. Now when this is all put together, it looks just like this. And you can see that the Tin of Tags stamp set fits very nicely inside. Okay, so now we need to figure out what are the measurements for the top of the box. So let's bring our worksheet back in. Okay, I already know what the inside box dimensions are, so let's write those in. They're 5 1/2 inches by 8 inches, which is 14 centimeters or 20.3 and by 20.3 centimeters. What I need to determine now is how tall I want the sides of the box to be. I think I'll make them 1 inch. So I'll put that in here. Okay, and that's 2.5 centimeters. So now I just need to add both of those up to determine what size of DSP that I need to cut. So it looks like I need a piece that is 7.5 inches by 10 inches. And in metrics, that's 19 centimeters by 25.3 centimeters. So here's the top piece. That is 7.5 inches by 10, scored all the way around at 1 inch. And when the box is put together, it looks like this and fits nicely right over the top. Wow, that was a lot of box making information to pack all into one video. Now don't forget that Stampin' Up! Has lots of ribbon choices to wrap around your boxes. And the one that I've shown you here in this video has been wrapped with baker's twine. And I've added this fun little tassel right here that I also made out of the baker's twine. So if you want to find out how to make one of these little tassels, you just need to watch the video right here. I hope I've inspired you to make your own gift packaging and feel like I have provided the information that you need so that you can create your own custom-sized boxes. Contact your demonstrator to order all the supplies that you'll need to create your own gift packaging, or visit our online store at stampinup.com.